We call the meeting of the Trenton Board of Education to order, July 28th at 5:30 p.m. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Gerald Trueheart.
Present.
Denise Johnson. Jean Bowie.
Present.
Addie Daniels Lane.
Present.
Austin Edwards.
Present.
Yolanda Lopez.
Present.
Larry Traylor.
Present.
Jeannie Weeklam. We have a quorum.
New Jersey Sunshine Law, New Jersey Sunshine Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the rights of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted on. On the rules of this act, the Trenton Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting by publicizing the date, time, and place. Therefore, posted on the website, the Times, and the Star Ledger. Formal action will take place at this meeting. Mission statement: all students will graduate with a vision for the future, motivated to learn continually in their choice of college, to prepare the choice of college or career. May I have adoption of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Roll call.
Gerald Trueheart.
Yes.
Denise Johnson.
Yes.
Jean Bowie.
Yes.
Addie Daniels Lane.
Yes.
Austin Edwards.
Yes.
Yolanda Lopez.
Yes.
Larry Traylor.
Yes.
Jeannie Weeklam.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Superintendent's remarks.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our summer board meetings. First time since I've been here on a hot day. So thank you all for coming out, and we look forward to spending some time with you. Just some updates, so I'm going to be just a little longer than normal just to share some of the new things happening or the things happening in district. So we are recommending this evening the new district logo. We are, after months of collaboration and feedback and thoughtful design with people in this room, in the community, at the school district level, different various people, we received lots of information through survey, and we were able to come away with what we believe represents what all of our stakeholders shared in those surveys. We spent about 3 months just thinking and talking about colors, images, things that speak to education, that speak to the city. So on tonight's agenda, we are recommending our new district logo, which will be branded on all of our official documents moving forward. So just wanted to thank our team, and in particular, Mrs. Glennon, our communications officer who led on this project to make sure it gets done on time. We had a June 30th deadline, and we finished. And we're excited for you to hear the story about Trenton and what it means. And when you're talking about the logo, the bridge, some of the cool things that will be included in the logo. New school naming is the next update. Just an update about that process. It was a really exciting process. We had a great opportunity to hear about outstanding people, their accomplishments in the city, in the community. So it was really awesome to be here on those nights, to know how people feel, and made those individuals feel special to me. So we reached out to community members for recommendations. We received 6 names and over 100 entries, including videos of information about each individual. We compiled that information, scheduled public meetings. We had 2 public meetings. One was to talk about the process, share the names, and just in general get ourselves ready for the process to make sure we were choosing high quality candidates to go on the name of a school. In the second public meeting, we had an opportunity to be in the presence of people sharing information about each person, each candidate, each nominee, their families, their friends, people from the community. So that was really exciting on that evening. After the second meeting, we selected a scoring committee and scheduled dates for scoring, and so all of our members have come in to score. And as of Wednesday, July 23rd, last week, I think. I have the right date. I may be close. We submitted the official scoring reports to the board chairperson, Ms. Jeannie Weeklam, for review. And I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank all of the members of our team who helped us guide that process. Board Chair Jeannie Weeklam, Assistant Superintendent Hope Grant, Communications Officer Morgan Glennon, and former teacher leader in Trenton Public Schools, Janice Williams, and myself. So we really had a really nice time trying to determine who was worthy of having their names on a building, and there's so many people worthy, so much contribution to the city of Trenton and to the district. So we're excited to see that process going through. You may hear more information this evening. The next update is about cell phone use in school. As I've mentioned in many comments during several board meetings, we are exploring strategies to reduce cell phone use during the school day, particularly in classroom spaces. And classroom spaces can be the gym, the band, and in large spaces as students move about the buildings. So we want to make sure that we reduce cell phone use and disruptions. We've explored several options and discovered that yonder pouches, you've probably seen that on the news, it can be controversial unless done well. We actually use yonder pouches at the 9th grade academy, and we see less disruptions and issues as related to cell phones having them in school during the day. Doesn't mean they don't come in from the community, but during the day students have them locked in pouches. This gives students an opportunity to have their pouches secure in lockable cases. They hold on to the cell phone and it can be unlocked with a key by an adult. So we're excited about that process, and provided we can get all of the steps in place, we're probably 70% there with making sure we get the orders in so that all of the pouches come back on time. We intend to implement that for grades 4 through 12. So stay tuned for more information in the community and for parents. So we're not taking the cell phone away, we're just limiting access during the educational process. Central registration is open here at Central Office from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. If you have students to register who want to attend the school here or a charter school, they must register in Trenton. They should get registered immediately because that avoids long lines. It ensures consistency in registration, so we want to make sure that happens. We're particularly concerned about any student who is transitioning from STEM Civics. If you've been reading, STEM Civics closed, and those students must register. So if you know someone, they must register in Trenton, whether they're coming to school here or they're going to another charter school. If they're moving out of the district, out of state, then they must withdraw here. So please pass that message. I hope it passes through video and on the website so that everyone knows, and we've communicated multiple times. So we're looking forward to over 600 students joining us from STEM Civics if they choose. And we are certainly proud of them to attend any institution they'd like to be educated if they choose not to come to Trenton. We have, and I have not had a chance to introduce him, he is here with us this evening, a new administrative team member. I have Mr. Pablo Samuel, who is serving as our executive director. Give him a... Pablo was board approved and has been working since July 1st, 2025. He told me he feels like he's been working for 5 years. So he's been doing awesome work, continuing the amazing work done by Yvette Reyes and the team in our technology department. We continue to do that work, and we're happy to have him on with us. He most recently served as the Director of Innovation, Technology and Innovation for Leonia Public Schools, where he led district-wide initiatives in systems administration, data security, digital equity, and classroom technology integration. We are excited to have him as a part of our team, and welcome, Mr. Samuel. This evening also, we have our data presentation on NJGPA, New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment, and our Access for ELS that I presented in my quarter four report, last board meeting. We'll take a deeper dive into that information this evening. That will be presented by Ms. Joanne Sung. So, Ms. Sung.
Good evening. Oh, I'm a lot louder than I usually am, so talk louder? Louder? Okay. So I'm going to be talking this loud. Excellent. Okay. Good evening, everyone. All right. So this evening I'll be presenting per district and state mandate the state performance results. Right now we have 2 assessment results in. That is the Access for ELS, which is all multilingual, mandate for all multilingual students to take each year. And that will give us almost like a window into how our students are performing in language proficiency. And NJGPA, which is New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment. Better? Was I echoing too much? Okay. Better? Okay. I can feel it kind of. Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Adjusting with the fan. We differentiate, right? Okay. So as you know, these are the mandates from the state. As we're entering the New Jersey CUSAC year in the 25-26 school year, it is our obligation to report to you and the public in regards to how our students performed in the statewide assessment that each district in New Jersey is mandated to administer. Many buttons and and many volumes that I'm controlling here. Okay, so the first assessment that we will review is the Access for ELS. Before we begin with the data, I wanted to just give you a definition of what Access for ELS is. Just like we have our students taking spring assessment in language arts and math, our students who are identified to be multilingual learners, or often you'll see the acronym of MLs. They have to take an assessment in the springtime for most. I believe that time period is February until March. They have about a month and a half window to take the assessment in the areas of speaking, listening, writing, and reading. And they're scored accordingly. And based on that compiled score, they're then able to become eligible for potential exit from the program. And then once they exit, we have a 2-year program that is supposed to be there to support the students in the transition. As you heard from Mr. Earle's presentation and Ms. Herrera, who presented on my behalf in my absence, we have seen some gains in regards to our scores, and I'm happy to report that the gains continue to be experienced and observed throughout the district, even in the summer months, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And you'll also hopefully have a deeper understanding or a deeper dive in regards to how our students performed grade level and per grade level. So what you see in front of you is a composite score from our students. What you want to look at is bottom to top. The bottom part talks about entering level, orange, emerging, kind of orange, yellow, green. Yellow, orange is developing, green, expanding, green, darker green, bridging, and blue, reaching. So what you see over the years from 2021 to 24-25 is not a tremendous amount of movement in regards to entering, because we are seeing a significant number of our MLs coming into the district, and we're actually seeing that through the registration every year. So it's not that we're having the stagnant number of students that just continue to go into cohort after cohort. We have new registrants that are coming in as entering or emerging learners. The one thing that I do want to point out is the moving green that is starting to even out a little bit more rather than declining, which is the trend that we have seen in the last few years, right? And looking at this specifically between last year and this year, you're starting to see a little bit more of a growth in regards to the green and the darker green. So for example, in 23-24 school year, you saw 4% and 0%. So that's 4% expanding and 0% bridging. This year in the 24-25 school year, you have 8%, which is nearly double that amount. Going further, deeper into the grade levels. Very quickly speaking, we're going to go into 2 grade level bands at a time, mostly kindergarten to 2nd grade, from 2021 to 2024-25 school year. What I really want to spend time on is just looking at this. So if you look at the kind of the brackets on the bottom, you see 23, 24, 25. Those are 2 years historical comparison, right? So what you're looking at is between in kindergarten to and 1st graders, so the same group of students, different grade levels. These students are going up, right? Look at the decline in the entering, right? You see from 87% to 48%. That is a tremendous amount of growth that we're seeing in our younger babies, right? The other growth that we see in 1st to 2nd grade, as students are coming in 1st grade and exiting, or really the data is collected between the 1st and 2nd grade, 56% to 32%, 72% for grades, all grade levels collectively in K2 to 40%. And looking at the top, you're going from 3% to 11% green growth, 11 to 22% and 5% in addition to that, 7% to 16% as growing. Composite score for 3 to 5. Similar trends are able to be observed. So again, 23 to 24, 24 to 25, you have 39 to 31% decline in that entering, 39 to 18, 32 to 24, 37 to 25, respectfully. And that's all grade levels. And looking at the top, where you want to really look at the developing, expanding, and bridging, those greenish bars that you see, right? You're growing from 22 to 30, 26 to 38, 32 to 35, and collectively we've grown and expanded that green bar 26 to 34%, in addition to the 6 and 14% growth in expanding. Am I echoing again? Okay. All right, grades 6 to 8, we're seeing similar kind of trends that we're seeing. So when we're looking at the 2-year comparison, you have grade levels 5 through 6 going down in the bottom bar, 39% to 29, 31 to 30, 44 to 41, collectively 39 to 32%. But really astonishing results in grade levels going from 6, 7, and 8, right? Like so 5th to 6th, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, all have seen this increase in regards to the developing, expanding, and bridging scores. 9 to 12, it's similar pattern that you're seeing. A little bit more of an even out, and I'm going to go further into why that might be. Looking at the overall decline in regards to the grade levels, without going through each grade level band, you're really looking at 49% to 43% decline in regards to entering level. And looking at the increase from 20 plus 22, that's 22% to 28% in the greens. So what does this all mean, right? Because these bars are kind of like, wow, there's a lot of information there, right? We're going to talk a little bit about the programs that have been in place and what we as a team, and we've been meeting as a bilingual group really multiple times prior to the scores being released. We meet all throughout the year, but particularly in preparation for this presentation. So what kind of stuff did we put into place that we think might have had a positive influence on the scores? Well, one thing is for sure, you've heard me say this over and over again before you. 4 years ago, now almost 5 years ago, consistency, 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 right? We have committed on a couple of programs that we knew was research-based, and we knew if we had fidelity, if we had commitment, we brought high-quality training, and we were consistent with our feedback. No matter how rough and struggles, how high the struggles might have been, we were going to stay true to what our belief was. And that is through the dual language immersion program. That is through the bilingual program, and that is also through the sheltered English instruction program. Those are for non-Spanish-bound targeted language students, and our ESL programs. So those are something that we really deeply committed to, and if you ask any one of us, we would tell you we still believe in the things that we put in place, and we're just digging deeper now because we have that motivation. We're seeing the scores, and our students who really started as kindergartners with dual language, if you recall, they're going into our intermediate schools. They're in 4th grade now. So we're asking, like, what else can we do to really deepen? So in terms of program, we're really investing in our coaching base, so real-time coaching feedback alongside the teachers. In terms of curriculum, we have in-house or in-district homegrown curricular resources that Ms. Herrera has spearheaded with her lead teachers. So these are curriculum that districts don't have, that we have, that is specific to our students, to our teachers' needs, that they have voiced to us. And we have gone to, I don't know how many publishing companies, because not every publishing companies had the titles. I mean, I could tell you Ms. Herrera and team have spent countless hours looking at publishing companies that will give us authentic texts that are written by authentic authors, authors that have gone through these experiences, who can really speak from their heart. And those little differences really do matter. And the coaching really does work when you have somebody who's an expert, who not only is speaking to you about the best practices through this forum, but is modeling and demonstrating the best practices as you're working with your students, and then are by your side giving you feedback in real time. Those are things that we really have and we will continue to commit to. We've also committed our time to train our administrators to make sure that they're on the same page as our teachers. As our teachers are getting and learning more about these programs, our administrators also have to increase their understanding so that they can be there in concert with our team to support the teachers. Couple of noteworthy things for the secondary. I know Mr. Velasquez just joined us, I want to say October, November of last year. But even in his short tenure here so far, he's made a lot of changes, and most of them have been structural. What we were really needing is some structure that is going to promote and insist on consistency. So those are things that we believe have really kind of promoted the growth here. The other component that I do want to talk about is the onboarding of the pilot programs that he is garnering with, in concert of the English Department General Education and English World supervisor. So our MLs are on the same page, getting development, getting grade level and age appropriate materials that are in line with our curriculum. So these are the subgroups that you can look at. They are by gender, programs, as well as ethnicities or race. Okay? So you've seen this before. This was all over our district website. Really the purpose of this is just to kind of ground our conversation of like where we were and where we're going. As a department, we're not going too far. We're staying with the 3 main beliefs that we have really kind of identified to be priorities. That is, we believe in project-based learning opportunities to be the way for engaging students alongside technology innovation, real-world problems, and really good, high-quality resources that our students can access. The other piece is we believe in high-quality instruction achieved when we are all together as a collective unit, using the core and supplemental resources that we have vetted year after year after year. And if you've ever seen, like, well, you have seen many of those agenda items from teaching and learning, we don't just adopt stuff, right? We go through a vetting process of piloting. In fact, some of my supervisors are like, we got a pilot. Do I have a plan? Yes, I have a plan. Do I need to go to the committee? Yes, I do, right? So they expect that. There has to be a thorough conversation, not only amongst themselves, but with teachers, administrators, students, parents, right? So we do believe in that concise, intentional instruction that is meant to address students' need that's identified through data. And lastly, we believe in that small group instruction. What I mean by that is identifying where our students' needs are and being able to deliver and meet them where they are and what their needs are, and being able to monitor their growth and celebrate the growth and reflect on the areas that might not show growth as much as we had anticipated, and rehashing and rethinking our design. So I'm not going to read all of this to you. I just summarize all the things that we have done, and where we're going, you're going to see almost like a parallel. We're not going far. Again, we are going to stay very true to the things that we have committed to. We are bringing high quality, sheltered English instruction strategies, not only for those teachers who are marked bilingual, but all teachers, because when you're looking at 70% of our student population, what are we now, 8,000? Students who are MLs in our district, we are all touching and we are all working with ML students, whether they are in the yellow or the blue, right? We're all working with them. Strengthening the programs that we have in place by bringing more reinforcement through coaching, professional development, and investment. Focusing on our Tier 1 and Tier 2 resources and making sure that there are structures in place. Again, at the secondary level, and you notice a little bit of a grade level change. That's as a result of our June 30th agenda, where supervisors' titles were revised to better meet the populations that they serve. In regards to where we are, we kind of tried and piloted a lot of programs in Mr. Velasquez's first half a year. Now we're going to ground a lot of those programs, and we're going to bring in the supports by reinforcing it through professional development series and really kind of aligning it to the standards per state. The other thing I do want to highlight is that there has been some after-school activities that we believe have really contributed to. One example is the after-school intervention program for the intermediate grade levels, 4, 5, and 6, that really focused on PBLs, the project-based learning, and language specifically. The other component is a summer program that is still going. Last day is Thursday, happening at TCHS, really talking about Rise Up, dealing with two different populations: students who are SLIFE, who have significant interruption to their formal learning, and the other component are students who are at the cusp of exiting and not letting that summer slide happen. In fact, we've also brought WIDA Screener, which is optional. Instead of waiting until the summer or springtime, we brought it in the fall as an optional assessment to exit some of our students earlier rather than having them wait for a long time. I gave you a lot. I'm moving on to GPA because I promise it'll be a concise presentation, and then I'll ask for questions. Or should I pause to ask for questions for this round? Keep going. Mr. Edwards said, keep going. I'm gonna go. Okay. So graduation proficiency assessment. I once again included the state's DOE's definition of what it is. So every year since 2023, we have, as a district and state of New Jersey, we have to test all of our 11th grade students in terms of to identify whether they're ready to graduate or not, according to the state standards. If students do not show competency within the standardized measures that is output by the DOE, they have two different opportunities to show their eligibility for graduation. And because of that, I believe they test at 11th grade so that they have other opportunities in 12th grade. I've outlined all three pathways for you so that you can take a look at them and review them at your leisure. First is the graduation assessment. The second is other assessments, which is outlined on the slide for you. Various assessments with the scores for language arts and math. And the third is the portfolio process, where students engage in throughout the school year to provide almost like evidence to their ability, readiness to graduate to the state of New Jersey. What I have is aggregated data and disaggregated data, and at the end you'll see the demographic data that is mandated per DOE and CUSAC. So what you see in front of you is a compilation of the scores from 2023 up until this spring, right? The reason why you have 11th grade and 12th grade is because when you're looking at the 12th grade, those are the students who are at 11th grade did not show competency who are retaking the assessment in the fall block, okay? And if you still don't have, if you don't have students who've met that requirement, they would then move on to that pathway 2 of different alternative assessments. If they don't meet it through that way, they would then go into pathway 3, which is the portfolio. Okay? Let's see. Yep. So what you have in front of you is historical data of total students or where we are, us compared to the state of New Jersey. So I will say that the state of New Jersey has a lot of information and a lot of standards that are provided for the district, right? And I think those are really important for us to keep our eyes on, and we make sure that we're teaching through those standards. However, it is my opinion that the state of New Jersey has never really considered the conditions of our students and the environment in which they're testing in, the environment that is representative of their backgrounds and or their past experiences. In addition to that, we've done some deep dive into this with the secondary supervisors, and what we're seeing is that if the students are in the cohort, they call that cohort. So, you know, you are a 9th grader, move up to 10th grade, moved up to 11th grade within Trenton Public School System. We are seeing an increase of their performance through GPA. But because we have a lot of transient population of students who enter our schools and exit our schools between, let's say, 9th grade until 11th grade, you've got a little bit of a mixed bag of data that I don't believe is a true representation of what we are seeing as a collective, right? Just looking at the data here, when you're looking at this, you're looking at the 11th grade of students, and I'm circling this because I want you to kind of think about this. So these are the graduation ready students last year, not this past spring, last year. So about 23.7% of our students showed proficiency, which means about 76.3% of our students needed to either retake the test or take the alternative test or complete proficiency, right? So I just want to kind of give you that perspective so we're not kind of blurring all of the students together. When we're looking at the 12th grade in 2025, you have 12th grade all results, okay? So that's 93.4% of the 76.3% of the students who retested, if that makes sense. I had to do that a couple times in my head too, because it's like when you say it, it's like, wait a minute. So the students who didn't pass it, of that population, 93%. So it's not really the 93% of all of our students, it's a smaller pool of our students, right? It just skipped. Going on to the next. Graduation ready, 11th grade students. So students who did not pass the NJGPA will participate in the 12th grade administration as well as pathway 2 and pathway 3 to ensure that they are showing their readiness for graduation. You have the subgroups, as I have shared with you, by race, gender, and program. And this is sort of like the meat of what I love to talk about, which is intervention. So where do we go from here, right? So overall, we're seeing a little bit of growth, but maybe not. But when we separate these cohorts of students, when we separate the grade levels, we are seeing growth. Slower growth, but growth. I think one of the supervisors actually show you the graph. They call it like point of disruption when you're making big changes. And that's sort of like exactly what we think has happened in the second grade levels. So where are we in English language arts? There he is. Point of disruption, right? And we actually talk a lot about this with our Franklin Covey work for disciplines of execution through that work. So what we've done so far is we've done the ground level work, right? We started the conversation about what good instruction looks like. We started the conversation about brainstorming about what are some strategies you can use to make sure that you're bringing the engagement, you're bringing the motivation, but you're also teaching to the rigor. There are a lot here, right? Especially when you're working with not kindergarten students who are like, yay, right? we have some students who may be a little apprehensive because they're like 15, 16, 17 years old. And I remember when I was in high school, I was sort of like, school was not my thing. It was not the first thing that I was thinking about, even though I had ways to go in learning. So not to generalize, but the population in terms of motivation, engagement, and resources that are appropriate for their level, but also rigorous enough, that's a real challenge. So we started that work and we started those conversations. And teachers have been really wonderful. They've been receptive, they've been wanting a change, and they're ready for that change. We've also brought a brand new core resource, Houghton Mifflin, it's called Into Lit, and we're on our year 2, I believe, year 1 and year 2 in some of the schools that we piloted, and we're just getting started. So what that means is that we're still helping teachers get used to all of the components, being able to access data, to be able to use the data, to be able to plan with the data. Those are all big buckets that we have actually started the work on. And as a collective group, the secondary team has really focused on CASTA's different levels of questioning. So rather than just asking like, what do you think? Right? Asking pointed questions that really get to the heart of authentic conversations. So, talking about bringing details from the text to be able to have supports, being able to discuss details connection to life, right? Where are we going? Well, we're not doing anything tremendously different. Like we talked about, we're going to continue our focus on project-based learning. We're going to continue to reinforce the data fluency, meaning can our people use the data to be able to get to where we want to go, right? And when we say our people, we're talking all of us, administrators, the teachers, and students, right? We really want to get to the place where our students are actually identifying the areas of need and being able to garner that and use their strength in areas of need and be able to advocate for those needs. And we're actually starting that through a program or a system called AVID, if you've heard of it. Those are the executive functioning skills that we believe our students need to be able to succeed. In fact, we're actually at the cusp of starting our summer program using many of those practices in August. It's called Future Forward, based on PBL activities for the secondary students. And that really is reinforcing these really important study skills and habit right before school begins. We did that on purpose. In terms of math, same thing, you'll see very similar language, but we are going into year 4 of our core adoptions. So we are starting to talk about like, what are we doing when we have students who are just not with everything or everybody? How do we differentiate at the second grade level? You're probably not going to use the same strategies as you did in the elementary. So how do we bring that, honor that, and respect that, and be able to bring students to a place where they feel comfortable and they feel motivated to perform? And where we're going with that, continue on with this engagement idea, using technology, using resources we have, but also looking at like real world math problems. So how do we help our students connect these crazy equations? And I call it that because I'm not a math person. Numbers actually really intimidate me. But like these numbers into their lives so that they can actually make sense of it, so they don't feel as intimidated when they look at this huge problem by themselves in front of NJGPA, for example. They at least know how to tackle, how to approach that, right? So that really is the end of my presentation. I didn't time myself, but I think I did pretty okay with time. No, they're saying no. If you have any questions, I will take them. I tried.
Yeah, so, hi, Joanne, thank you. Is that me? Okay, is that better? Okay, great. So thank you for that information. There was just a couple of questions that I had. When you looked at, and you kind of inferred it, entering, what is the definition of entering? And the reason I asked that, to kind of give some context to my question, right, is because we continue to see large, like I think we brought in over 2,000 students last year, right? And so they're coming in at all different grade levels. And so when you see entering, moving, I guess it was 9th and 10th? Yeah, 9th through 10th. So you didn't see growth, you saw a decline. Is it because the a significant number of students are entering at that point? Is that what drives that? That's my first question.
Yes, so, yes, you are correct. So entering means, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Entering means that you have very minimal or no language, right?
Okay.
So what that means is not only are you in a space perhaps learning about the cultural piece of what it is like to be in a new country with new cohorts of friends and new cohort of teachers, new expectation, but the language acquisition may or may not be there. And as you know, as students get beyond fourth grade, you have that formal language of SLIFE, right? The significant interruption of formal education. So what that means is that we've got students, just like rest of the states, right? We got students who may have gone to school until they're in first grade. And because it's not a mandatory, kind of requirement in their country, they didn't go to school beyond first and second grade and have been working. And now we are having to teach them Algebra 2, right? And have them go through word problems, right? So that's a significant challenge, which is why you'll see in tonight's agenda, I think it's one of the last items. We have decided to partner with CUNY, it's called the Bridges Program, to really bring to awareness not only for the students, but educating ourselves in terms of how we educate our students who are in that predicament. But yes, we have a rising or increasing number of students who are in the SLIFE or emerging bucket,
Okay, and so
or entering bucket rather.
great,
Excuse me.
thanks. And so just two more. The next one is around differentiated learning. You referenced that multiple times, right? And so when you look at the transient population, because we're trying to address those students' needs at the individual level, is that stymieing, for lack of a better term, growth across? Because everything is done at the aggregate, right? So when you disaggregate that data, do we see significant growth at the different levels, and at what level do you see the most growth?
So one of the things that we're reflecting on, in fact, like just this afternoon when I was reviewing this presentation before I stood before you all, was thinking about, my goodness, like we have a large transient population of students who may enter our school maybe in the secondary, maybe smack in the middle of elementary experiences, and we have intentionally adopted these programs to be consistent. So kindergartners all the way to 8th grade, they have the same program, just varying levels of rigor as they move up, right? So you can imagine if somebody's coming in 7th grade, you're not only having to identify the curricular content, but you got to catch up to the kind of protocols and the routines and the nuances that our cohort of students have been gaining since kindergarten. And if you really think about it, you've done 7-8 years of it every day in the classroom, it becomes almost like your second nature, right? So one of the takeaways that we've had through the curriculum writing process is really the need for spiral curriculum, which means we have to identify a specific set of standards that continue to spiral throughout, even though we may be moving students forward into the school year to catch those who may not have had that. If we are able to identify students who are non-cohorters, so not the newcomers, but students who've been with us, we are seeing that growth steadily.
Okay, great. And my last one, right? So this, we've always had, I've been here for 9 years. We've always had, I've been sitting on the board for 9 years. And one of the challenges has always been around math. And so I liked the way you described how you use project-based learning to kind of drive math proficiency, so to speak. And because when you make it applicable to their lives, children realize that they are math and it's easier to get done. And so are you doing that across all different grade levels, or is it isolated to certain groups?
So we are prioritizing that all throughout the schools, all of the grade levels. The challenge really is because math has always traditionally been like kind of thought of as like oh, the word problems are really difficult and there are like gazillion things I gotta do and I have to organize myself, right? Oftentimes, like as teachers, we assume that students come to us knowing how to approach, but the reality is many students may not even know how to start that first step, right? So at the elementary level, we've really been conscious about how we bring those steps and unpacking them through the content areas and then bringing the rigor up as we go up. At the secondary levels, when they're starting, let's say, with Reveal, which is the core resource that we have, we are actually starting where Bobby, the English supervisor, was. Perhaps not with notice and notes, because that's about reading, but really the idea of how do you note students who may not be able to move on because they might not know X, Y, Z, and what do you do when you identify those needs for X, Y, Z? And that's where that small group instruction, if you recall the goal page at the third goal, not the least, but the third goal being really, really important coming into the 5th year, but really 4th year of this curricular change from the teaching and learning department. And as a result, schools and teachers and administrators will see our team really pushing and promoting that small group instruction, intervention, using data and helping to kind of bring and foster ownership and also efficacy around that.
All right, so just very briefly, I appreciate the amount of granular data that you guys are compiling, and sorry, we're getting echoes too, fans, it's a whole thing today, it's a whole thing. But all the information that you're compiling, I realized that, kind of year to year, you were highlighting that, there is some change, but it is minimal, but you guys are still working consistently to deliver something that these kids specifically need, right? The education that they need. Can you explain to us again, just, over the fans if you can, right? First of all, the community aspects, like what our children specifically are dealing with, why they're having, difficulties, right, in the first place, transitioning from, whatever backgrounds they may have to where they are here in Trenton, and also why the things that you are doing, the district is doing, that is consistent, that's delivering for our students.
Thank you. If I heard you correctly, you want me to talk a little bit about that transition, like what makes it so difficult or what has been so challenging?
Yep, the challenges they face, perfect.
Yeah, so I think it's just the idea of progressing, right? So there are two houses of philosophy. One is, the resources you do, and the other is really focusing on the process in which you do, right? And I happen to be a huge believer, and I'm looking at my team, but not really looking at my team because, they know that I talk about this a lot. It's the process. How do we get there rather than we did it, right? So when we talk about that, it was a huge cultural shift in our district upon my arrival when we started, when Mr. Earl brought me on. Oh God, it's 2021 already, right? And it takes a really long time to kind of move people, especially adult learners, and including myself, right? Adult learners from one way of doing things to another way of doing things, right? We've also had to really work on trust. If I'm being really honest with you, really helping to establish trust and our commitment towards the things that we brought in. So the idea of we're not just kind of like throw this in and walk away. We're here. We're bringing the coaches, like many of the people, like, these individuals who are professionals who are sitting in front of you, they have gone into classrooms and taught the classes. Whether they knew the students themselves or not, they have taught the classes using the strategies that we have committed to. So that took some time as well. But in regards to where we are, because our curriculum and our programs were a little inconsistent prior to my entrance here. We had to really streamline and commit first and establish our vision and really bring in the reinforcements through Mr. Earl's approval and Jane's help with the funding. We had to really show that we are really committing to this. So no, you're not just getting 2 PDs on this. You're going to get 40, 70 professional development opportunities where you're going to constantly see not just random people coming through your classroom, same person coming into your classroom for the past 4 years. So like the idea of me being a teacher myself, like somebody coming into my classroom is already intimidating. It's like you're telling me what I need to do about the kids that I've taught and the practice that I've had for X number of years, right? So that trust was a very important process. The other piece is making sure that we have fidelity and commitment towards the resources that we've adopted. As you notice in my goals in my 5th year going in, I still have that as a goal, because we're still not seeing 100% commitment towards the fidelity of, because our district, especially with the pandemic and having virtual, we had access to a lot of things. And we had to really consolidate to say, let's just use this for now and give it some time, right? And you remember seeing that dip, zone of disruption? We truly believe as a team, we are there. And we will soon be in the decision making and see ourselves out.
Well, I just want to say thank you guys for being consistent. I know this is a lot of work to do, and it takes, we deal with a lot of things outside of the 4 walls of each one of the schools, and then as it comes into the schools, you guys do the work to make sure our kids are really taken care of. So thank you, Superintendent. Thank you guys, team, all right, who's showing up to classrooms as well. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
I was just going to say thank you for the presentation, and I had a question around the numbers of transient populations within the district. I want to know if you have any data around if you have the number around how many students are in the district that are transient and what. I've got an echo.
If I heard you correctly, you're looking for data around transient student population
Yes.
versus non-transient.
Yes.
I can get that information for you. I do not have that prepared in our presentation today.
Okay.
But I can certainly follow up with the superintendent and get that information.
Absolutely, thank you. And as well as I was curious to see what grade levels was the highest percentages of
Absolutely.
transient population, because that will help, especially looking at the data.
Yep, absolutely.
Thank you. We appreciate the presentation. That concludes my remarks.
Amen. Thank you, Superintendent. Thank you, Joanne. Great presentation. That leads me right into the President remarks. Just have a few things to share with the board. One is that leads us right into you've been sharing about not only the work that's been done, but the work that continues to be done in our last 21 through 26 5-year strategic plan. We're at the end of that strategic plan now, but the work continues. And so I've been speaking with Mary Ann Friedman, who is our representative at New Jersey School Boards, and she will be meeting with me, communicating with me next week to talk about our next 5-year strategic plan, where we will, of course, continue the work that's been started under Superintendent Mr. Earl and his team. And so I'll have that information forthcoming to the board once I have a conversation with Mary Ann Freeman. And I'm hoping that she may be able to either do a Zoom call with us or make our August retreat to go through the process again of our next 5-year plan, which we've been through 5 years ago, and continue in the work. And so I wanted to make that note. And the other thing I wanted to share about our strategic plan is just something that Mr. Bowie has been sharing over the last several months, is about the tens of millions of dollars that we've been investing, not only in professional development for our teachers, but also in our students, as well as resources, tens of millions of dollars in resources over the last 10 years, over the last 5 years, pardon me, I've been on the board 10 years, over the last 5 years, all centered around our strategic plan and the goals that we have set for ourselves over the last 5 years. And that's the reason why we see the results that we see. No matter how small they might be, right? No matter how small they might be, progress is progress. And I like that chart that you showed with the dip, with the disruption, where it kind of really paints the picture of where we were, status quo, and where we're going. So We do have a little bit more to go. So our next 5-year strategic plan is a very important component of the work that we continue to do as a board and as a district under the leadership of our superintendent. So I just wanted to share that with the board around that goal work. And as a matter of fact, our goal work also will be looking at our superintendent goals and his action plans for next year, which of course will coincide with our 5-year plan in our final year, as well as our board goals around our master board certification. We are master board certified. Many of our members are master board members. And so with Mary Ann Freeman's help, our New Jersey School Board rep, we plan to continue that work around our board goals, around continuing to be qualified as master board and master board members. I want to thank Yolanda, as under her presidency, the great work that you started, and we continue to work on making sure that we stay true, we commit our resources and our time. A lot of work went into doing that. And I'm not sure if, Addie, if you wanted to just quickly share on Ray Penny, the work that Ray is doing with the article.
If you're referencing the fact that Ray Penny outreached to us,
Yes.
because this particular board did something that not a lot of other boards did in terms of getting the master certification and getting it in a short period of time. And so Ray Penny, who is one of the directors over at New Jersey School Boards, is interested in doing an article that features the achievements and the drive and the motivating factors for the board itself in terms of how we were able to move forward with setting those goals and then actually meeting those goals of, first of all, getting board certified and then getting master board certification, which again, we did it in a short period of time, and that's something that hasn't happened in quite a few years. And so he reached out to us because at one point in time we were not very visible in the organization of New Jersey School Boards Association, and now we're very visible and very active and moving moving that particular board forward. So again, the outreach is to feature what motivated us and how we keep up that motivation even when we have brought in new members to the organization. So that's the reference.
Thank you, Ms. Lane. The only other couple of things is the rebranding of our district logo. I'm really excited about that team, and I did peek at some of the logo that the superintendent had on in front of him. He did share this with the board previously, but I didn't get a chance necessarily to see the final three. But here they are, and we're really excited about this work under the superintendent. This is our district-wide logo, our rebranding for our district-wide, and one of the conversations I had with Mr. Earl as we were going through this process many months ago was, how can we do this also for each and every one of our schools, right? So as we rebrand our district globally, each of our schools also has a logo, also has a branding that they have. And so I'm looking forward to how we bridge that next step with the resources that we have to help our schools also rebrand and have, all of our logos, our top logo with Trenton rebranding and all of the logos of all the schools rebranded. And it really makes a difference optically in our community and makes people feel really good and feel a part of the process. And people have been a part of this process for months now and really chiming in and adding value to this logo redesign, this rebranding. So really excited about that, school board. The other thing is our school naming. Behind the scenes on that, really supporting superintendent, supporting board member Weeklam with logistics and how we actually get to this point. And we're very happy today that we're going to have that under the facilities report under board member Weeklam. She'll share that with us very shortly. But just really excited about the opportunity we have for a new school in our district in the South Ward, and opportunity for our kids and our students to have a brand new school that's named after our community members who have made a difference in our lives, in the lives of children, in the lives of our community, not just here in the city of Trenton, but around the county and across the state. So we look forward to getting through that process, and Ms. Weekland will work with that and give a report out on that. The other part is my last comment as for board president comments and also as governance committee. We have a board vacancy that we'll be interviewing for this evening. One of our former board members, Sasa Elise Montagna, she resigned. I believe she moved back over to Italy, right? Not Italy, Spain. And so we had a vacancy, and so we petitioned and sent out notifications to our community. We had several extensions of our due date for applications. The last one was extended to May 31st. We did have 2 candidates. One of the candidates did rescind. And so we have 1 candidate tonight that we're going to be interviewing in executive session. Following our executive session, we will come back out, deliberate, and have a vote on that, filling that vacancy for our board vacancy. The other thing I wanted to mention to you also is that we have board petitions. Remember, we're elected board now. And so every November we have an election. So we have 2 board members that are currently on our board that have submitted petitions to the county to be on the ballot for November. That's Board Member Weekland and Board Member Austin Edwards. And so I want to, know you got your stuff in, right? All right. So, all right. And so we're really proud of that opportunity we have. We've been working very close together over the years. Since the elections was approved by our constituents in our city that have board elections, and we've been very successful with maintaining the consistency. That's the key part, the consistency, not only of our board, but the consistency in the academic rigor and the academic success and the academic resources, and where we actually are placing the resources into our community, into our schools, that are making that difference that we're seeing right now, no matter how small of an increment that might be. And so I'll conclude my remarks there, and also that concludes my governance remarks. And so we'll move on from there with teaching and learning with, actually, Addie, Delon is going to, you were at the committee meeting?
No, but I have notes.
You have notes. Okay, so go with Addie, and then if Delon have any comments from that as well. No? Okay. Addie at Ganners Lane. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay, so good evening again. Representing the Teaching and Learning Committee, it did meet on July the 22nd, and at that particular meeting I was not able to attend, but I do have the notes from that particular meeting. And of course, during the course of the meeting, board agenda items that included a focus on proposals, resolutions, and travel requests were discussed and reviewed. Some of the highlights from that agenda for next year, there will be a pilot dual language musical to take place at Trenton Central High School, and I believe that musical is going to be Shrek, so that's going to be piloted at the high school in a dual language format. In addition, there were activities related to multilingual learners, various programming, including the fact that there was a summer program called Rise Up. There was also discussion about optional WIDA model assessments being administered in the fall to identify students who are ready to exit the ESL programming. There is also information regarding the SLIFE program, the curriculum that is being developed with a partnership between Bridges, Community, New York, CUNY, National Newcomers Program. And again, that's CUNY, that's from New York University. And there was also a performance report preview, and of course you saw that particular presentation tonight. And in fact, we also added information about the New Jersey Graduation Proficiency Assessment. For special needs, the update is that the summer ESY program is continuing. There are 200 students enrolled, and the average programming is about 180 students daily, and there's numerous community partners scheduled to visit and participate in that particular program. And in fact, child study team summer evaluations and referrals are ongoing through August the 15th. Summer placement based on those referrals is again ongoing. And the next meeting time for the curriculum committee would be on August the 9th. Upcoming is a discussion of disproportionality. The report and presentation is yet to be discussed. So that was the report from Teaching and Learning. Any questions that I can answer? No? Okay, good.
So we met Operations and Finance. We met on the 28th. We discussed the bill list, staff travel, acceptance of donations, and spending. So I think it's really important that folks understand the amount of money that we spend. The bill list for July 28th was $23,273,541, and that covered June 30th through July 15th. I also want to make note, earlier, I think it was Gerald mentioned about the investment that we spend in our staff, teachers, administrators, and I was looking at a report that the superintendent shared with me, and I think that number for the last year was almost $3 million. And so you can see a return on that investment if you look at how the growth of our students. So that's really a big deal. Let's see. Acceptance of donations, child win, a refrigerator and freezer valued at $2,000 for family and community engagement. Comcast, a $3,000 check for family and community engagement. Wholesale schoolwear, uniforms valued at $400 for family and community engagement. And Arm in Arm, 100 food bags monthly, August 2025 through June 2026, $22,000 for family and community engagement. And so we're very grateful to those folks who sacrifice for our children.
Good evening. The Facility Committee met this morning, and prior to going over the school naming stuff, I'll present the minutes from that meeting. Reserve capital and maintenance projects that have been ongoing are the demolition of the Ziegler building that is currently on hold. We're waiting for the Department of Education to provide a release letter in order to knock the building down. Once that is approved, we'll move forward. The elevator over at Harrison School, the permit has been submitted for the new elevator at Harrison, and we're waiting for Department of Education approval on that as well. HVAC upgrades, permits, approval requests have all been submitted for Harrison and Franklin, and minor upgrades are underway. Renovations over at the 9th grade academy, Scazzari Builders has had a kickoff meeting scheduled for tomorrow, and the contractor plans to start mobilizing soon after that. Required maintenance that's ongoing, the cafeteria extension, they've added in an open area inside the building, like a courtyard, they've added a tent area in order to extend the cafeteria so that more students can fit in the space. And the concession stands over at the high school have also been upgraded. Monument and McKnight are getting interior walls in the open spaces that were left. They had just barriers for classrooms before, and now they're getting permanent walls, so it's a more conducive learning environment to learning. And there's extensive flooring replacement going on throughout the district at Dunn, Robeson, Gregory, McKnight, and in the commissary kitchen. Okay, that's it for the facilities meeting. I'll now move on to the school naming process that we held. There were two community meetings, as the superintendent said, where the community came and submitted names for naming of the new school down in the South Ward. 6 total names were submitted. 4 of them made it to the final review. And then they were scored by a group of 7 individuals that volunteered to read all the applications and score them based on a rubric they were given by us. And I'll just briefly go over the rubric, the criteria. There were 5 different parts. It was the district mission and its principles. Does the person represent that, how they were as a role model, ethnic and cultural school composition, whether, you know, they worked their way into the makeup of the district, contributions they made, and moral character. And each of those criteria were to be ranked 1 through 4. So after, I'll give a brief bio on each person to the board when we're coming up for a vote. But one of the things with the school building is it's going to be an elementary school and an intermediate school. And under Department of Education regulations, they have to have 2 school numbers. So we have the option, if the board chooses to do it, to pick 2 names off the list. And once we decide on whether we want to do that, I'll present the names and how they ranked out with their scores, their averaged out scores. So I want to...
Jeannie, I'm sorry, repeat that again.
Okay, we have the option of picking 2 names because there are technically 2 schools going into that one building. One side is an elementary, the other side will be intermediate. So I want to make a motion that we opt to select 2 names for the school.
We have a motion on the floor to accept 2 names, one for the intermediate school, one for the elementary school, that is in the South Ward.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second.
A discussion.
Okay, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Open for, motion was properly moved and second, open for discussion. Anyone have any discussion around that?
Yeah. So just an observation, right? Since we have 2, it's kind of logical to me, right? We've got 2 distinct numbers. We ought to have 2 distinct names. That's just my 2 cents. Or
And so just my understanding, it's one building, 2 different schools within one building. So this building would contain 2 different names on the facade. Okay.
On different sides.
On different sides. Got it.
There are different entrances, right? So it would be over the entrance? Because there are 2 different
We
entrances?
currently do have a school with 2 names on it, 2 schools.
Right,
joint.
but it's
Yeah.
one building, we said. However, because there are 2 schools in the one building, I would think that there are 2 entrances, one for the elementary and one for the intermediate. So it's feasible that we could have the 2 names. Personally, I would just go with the 1 name, but if the board likes the 2 names, we'll go with the 2 names.
Explain that too. Explain why.
It's just sometimes we have so many names, and it is one building. And you know, we do have done there, so it would be 3 names in the one block of the city. So, but that's just a personal thing. It's not anything that has to do with it being better or worse than not. It's just a personal feel to it.
Okay.
So that's why I'll go with.
Just for a point of, yes, Adam.
No, I was just going to say, so there is precedence for that
Yeah,
in
Paul
terms of
Robeson and
Hedgepeth
Hedgepeth
Williams
Williams,
and
right.
Paul Robeson. So it's one building. The elementary side is Paul Robeson. The middle school side is Hedgepeth Williams. So there is a precedence. It's not something that has not been done before. Just throwing that out there.
I was just going to say the building has, the way it's designed has 2 entrances, or one for the elementary school and one for the older children. So it's designed to be able to enter. You can enter in one space, but you go to different locations. There's also other entrances that we'll discuss for bus drop-off and those types of things. So it's well designed to make sure students are age appropriately in their spaces.
Yes.
So.
No? All right, cool. So just clarification on the motion, and I guess a bit of the process itself. We're specifically just voting on whether to have 2 names as opposed to 1. We're not specifically deciding on any names at the moment? Okay, so that's still in committee.
No, I will present, once you guys decide whether one name or two names,
Okay.
I will then present the names and give you the weighted
Gotcha.
scores, or not the weighted scores, the scores, and then we can select two names from that list.
All right, thank you for that clarification.
So my question is, we're officially selecting the names of the schools tonight.
The motion on the floor that we have before us right now is to decide whether we want to have, the motion is to have two names, one for the intermediate school, one for the elementary school. Once that motion is either passed or denied, we can make a decision at that point on whether we have one name or two names, and that would be the second motion. So this first motion is to identify and approve two names, and then the second motion that Jeannie will place will be to actually go through the rubric and name the top candidates for the naming of the school. All right, so there's two resolutions tonight. Any more discussion? Questions? Seeing none, the motion was properly moved and seconded. We had discussion. Roll call.
Gerald Trueheart,
Yes.
Denise Johnson,
Yes.
Jean Bowie,
Yes.
Addie Daniels Lane,
Yes.
Austin Edwards,
Yes.
Yolanda Lopez,
Yes.
Larry Trailer,
Yes.
Jeannie Weigland.
Yes.
Motion passed for the naming of two schools.
Okay, now I'm going to give a brief description on the list of the four names of each person, a little bio, so that you can see what they were weighting against. First name is Beatrice Cloyd. Beatrice Cloyd was a Trenton Public School graduate and lifelong Trenton resident. She was a mother of 9 who all attended the local schools. She was actively involved in the PTA on both the local and national levels, promoting collaboration between parents and educators. Beatrice worked as a lunch lady and a housekeeping, building strong relationships with students and ensuring clean, safe school environments. She also contributed to the city through her service on voting committees and regular attendance at city council meetings. The next person nominated was Malcolm X Shabazz. Malcolm X Shabazz was an African-American revolutionary, Muslim minister, and a human rights activist who played a prominent role during the civil rights movement until his assassination in 1965. He was the spokesman for the Nation of Islam until 1964, after which he left the movement. Malcolm X was a vocal advocate for black empowerment and the promotion of Islam within the African American community. He is celebrated within the African American and Muslim communities for his pursuit of racial justice. His legacy as a powerful and influential figure in the fight for equality makes him an excellent candidate. The next candidate, Miguel A. Hernandez. Miguel Hernandez, a retired Trenton Public School teacher with 40 years of service, was named Teacher of the Year and led Mercer County Community College's bilingual GED programs. A U.S. Army Bonquier during the Korean War, his unit received the Congressional Gold Medal and was honored with the Presidential Medal of Freedom by Barack Obama. Renowned for his commitment to education, his community, Hernandez inspired generations of students and continued his outreach well into retirement. The last candidate, Betty Vaughn Coles. Betty was born in Trenton and a lifelong Trenton resident. She graduated from Trenton High School in 1945 and was the first African-American woman to teach at Junior 1. Betty had a teaching career spanning over 34 years and was a charter member of the Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Trenton chapter. She was also a member of the NAACP, the Urban League of Greater Trenton, the National Congress of Black Women, and the Bronzettes. Betty volunteered with more than 8 community organizations and has been awarded Teacher of the Year, Educator of the Year. She served on the YMCA Board of Directors and still continues to provide an annual scholarship to graduating Trenton seniors. Her extensive contributions make her a well-formed candidate for this position. Okay. Next, I'm going to give you how the scoring worked out for each person. Okay. For Beatrice Cloyd, with 7 people read all the applications and weighted each person based on the applications they read. Beatrice Cloyd, her total score over the 5 criteria came out to 11.6. Malcolm X Shabazz, his total score came out to 9.1. Miguel Hernandez, 16.9. And Betty Vaughn Coles, 18.3. So just keep in mind how that came out when Jane gives you, we go through who to vote yes and yes on. You got to pick 2 people off that list.
May I ask a question?
Yeah.
Yes? Is it possible for us to receive that information that you read to us, and maybe we can vote at the next board meeting so we kind of read it and just get familiarized with those people on the list? I'm just, if it's okay.
Yeah.
Well, do we want to
Go ahead.
make a motion based on using the top 2 scores as names
That's what I would say.
for the 2 schools?
Yeah. That's what I would say. So question? Can I have a question? So this is probably a process question, because I was taking notes through this whole thing. So 4 names rolled to the top.
4 names submitted. Yeah.
Right? And the team of 7 actually use weights to score the 4 names. We have the score for the 4 names, right? So basically, I think the question
motion
is answered, just from my perspective, because if this is what she wants us to vote on, the 2 names with the highest scores, but we have to discern which gets which school. Ultimately, that's another decision. But just based on what I've heard by listening and looking at the totals, just math, right? It's just math. I mean, it kind of seemed like they've answered the questions for us. So kudos to the team who took the time to go through this, because it must have been an incredible chore. So that's just I don't know if that was a question or a statement, just my observation.
Well, I do understand that, and I get it. The highest scores always get the prize, so to speak. But since we are being asked to vote, we're given the option to say, well, this one may have received less, but maybe this person may be someone we may want to. And I'm not saying that that's the case, but then we really shouldn't. We only have to approve. We don't have to vote for the names, but rather, I guess the motion should not be if we want to choose the names, but approve the 2 names that are being presented.
Make a
as the
motion to approve the
that
top
I
2
understand.
scores.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would think we could leave it up to the superintendent to pick which one gets which name?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so
You want me to move
is
it?
there any more questions?
Well,
Denise?
I'm sorry, just one other question. And Jeannie, you probably mentioned this. Each person, other than Malcolm X, we know who he is, but the other individuals, everyone was vetted? Like, we looked into their background?
Yes, because that's how we ended up with a list of 4, because of the vetting and 1 withdrawal, because we started off with 6.
Perfect, okay.
The other 3 are local
Yeah.
Oh,
So I
So
make,
are there any, one more second, Jeannie. Any additional questions? Austin, you have your mic on.
I was actually just going to make the motion.
All right. All right, then I'll leave it there.
All right, so I'm terrible with names, but I move that we move forward with the two highest scores that were received, Hernandez and Coles, for the two school renaming.
Motion was properly moved and seconded
second.
for the top two names of Hernandez and Coles. Those are the top two names. And so that is the motion on the floor, properly moved and seconded. Roll call.
Gerald Trueheart.
Yes.
Denise Johnson.
Yes.
Jean Bowie.
Yes.
Addie Daniels Lane.
Yes.
Austin Edwards.
Yes.
Yolanda Lopez.
Yes.
Larry Trailer.
Yes.
Jeannie Weekland.
Yes.
Motion passed.
And just for point of clarification, with what Gene was alluding to in terms of the process, there are several categories. There were actually 5 categories. I know that Jeannie, Board Member Weekland, chaired this, but District Mission and Principles Board, Role Model, Ethnic and Cultural School Composition, Contributions, and Moral Character. Then there was a total. And I have a chart here that has 4 names on it with the scores across the top, and each one of those categories with a total score. And the top 2 scores were Hernandez and Coles. So that's what we're voting on based on the work that the committee has done, based on the superintendent, right? And based on the motions initially to have the 2 names as the first motion for the intermediate and the elementary school, that allowed us to have 2 names because we can have 2 based on that school configuration. And then the second vote, and the second motion by Board Member Edwards, Austin Edwards, moved to have the school named after those 2 individuals. So that's where we are. Thank you. Human Resources. Yes. All right. And thank you to the community for all the work that you did as well. It wasn't an easy task and a lot of work when it was involved in that, and so we appreciate the work that you've done as well. Thank you so much. Austin Edwards.
All right, clearly I need to move that we turn the fans back on because the heat is messing everything up. All right. HR, let me get to that very quickly. And swear it's here. All right, cool beans. All right, so as the chair of the HR committee, we met specifically, I believe about a week ago or so, in regards to making sure that we're hiring and maintaining some amazing people in the district. I do want to highlight a few things. First, want to shout out the HR administrative team. We are recommending 23 new hires to the district on this board meeting today, and they range from different positions, including bus drivers, paraprofessionals, special ed teachers, music teachers, computer teachers, bilingual teachers, and these are good paying salaries, right? I see some of them definitely over, 6 figures out here, which I say it all the time. I really rethink why I became a public service attorney, all right? When I should be working for the district here. But there really are amazing positions and amazing salaries that really reflect the need that we have and the product that we want to deliver to our students. I do want to also highlight the fact that on the list today is a position for the new assistant superintendent for school support that we'll be voting on today. That will replace Dr. Rodriguez in his departure, I believe, about a year ago or so. So that's definitely a needed position that we will be voting on today. And finally, if we go down towards the end, I can't even say towards the end, towards the majority of the report today, 74 pages of stipends that we have today, right? And that's notable because not only does it highlight stipends for our teachers to continue working over the district over the summer, and our professional development classes that are really good for our administrative staff and our teachers as well. It provides an opportunity for, and I hear this all the time, when can community organizations be involved in the district? We had the presentation earlier, and it's one of the things that we highlight all the time, how to reduce learning loss over the summer. And these are spectacular programs and spectacular options for our teachers, our staff, our community organizations to be as involved with our children continuing that great work. So we don't have to work as hard in the fall, not just to keep them moving forward, but to make sure that they're not leveling out. And so we don't have to do as much work. So this is an amazing HR report. Thank you again to the HR team. Really appreciate all the work that you guys are doing.
Just one really quick question, probably for the superintendent. How many summer programs do we have in the district this year?
So I know that we have a few at the high school. I would never get that number right because, so we have several different, we have our regular high school, and then we have some traditional, some new enrichment type stuff. Ms. Sung mentioned some of those. We have our regular creators, transformers program that we have. We have ESY, and then some of our schools, 4 to 5 of them, wanted to have their own programs, specifically kind of for kids in their area to keep them coming to school. So probably 10 to 15 programs going on in district that service, the high school is for credit recovery, but all the rest is for enrichment and trying to stem the summer slide, making sure students stay engaged. And we also want this to be a safe place for parents to leave their children and they can continue to learn. So about 15 programs. Yeah, so the question was, are we seeing more involvement in our enrichment programs? One of the challenges we face this year, it's a good problem to have, is that the city reestablished some of their summer programs, and they're going to Wildwood and Great Adventure, Dorney Park. They're going to some cool places. So we are about enriching, and we go to cool places, but not those, right? So we did notice a drop in some of the numbers, but we think it's because they're in those programs, and we're happy that that's happening. So one of the things we talked about doing was in this year is talking with the city, making sure we're all coordinated, because we don't want to compete for resources. We want the child to have a good experience. So maybe there's a way for them to have good travel experiences and then for them to come to us for that enriching opportunity, and we can reduce costs that way working together. So we'll explore that in the coming years, but we just want kids engaged, and so that's what we're shooting for.
I think yours is the only one that's working.
Yes, it does. Ours are working. Talk loud. Talk loud.
Yeah.
He's the most important.
Denise, do you have some comments? Oh, you got your microphone. Okay, good.
Yeah, so I also wanted to mention that there are a lot of summer programs which really, they, cipher children from our programs. I know that the City Museum actually had one as well, like a week-long summer program. So, yeah, we do see that in our community. So I'm actually going to be short and sweet because the policy committee did not meet in the month of July. So we have our regularly scheduled policy committee meeting the third Thursday in August, and we'll start that, the process of reviewing and revising all the policies that need to be updated. So
I must say you've done an outstanding job getting that done. You and General Counsel and the committee, great work. James Roll. All right, General Counsel.
Okay, my mic is working now. Okay, so the FACE committee met on July 23rd. We discussed the food pantry that is coming online in this building. So it's pretty exciting. It's going to be open starting, I believe, this fall, 9 to 1 from Monday to Friday. We got a donated refrigerator and freezer for it, so it's going to be really great stuff serving our community within the Trenton Public Schools. We also discussed a lot of family connecting workshops, especially around parents, helping them develop the skills and emotional language to support, showing up for their kids, developing stronger parental skills.
Yeah.
So that was a really great conversation we had around that. We also went over school attendance data, and as we all know, the district has a billboard campaign, so that is continuing on this year, so we got some exciting updates around that. And that was, and then we also talked about the annual back to school extravaganza, which will happen on Friday, August 29th from 10 to 2 at the board parking lot outside. So that was our update for our meeting.
What did you glean from the attendance data?
The attendance data was very illuminating. I think similar to what we heard before around some of the challenges around this past year. So the district has been trying to make gains around student attendance. We saw with the billboard campaign and everything, but especially with the most recent election and a lot of the challenges we're seeing on the federal level, we have seen that has impacted, students and families feeling safe within the district, as we heard at prior board meetings as well. So we have to do a lot more work reminding and encouraging the community that our schools are safe, that this is a learning environment, and that we are doing our best to make sure that students are safe and that parents are safe sending their kids to school.
On that matter, I was wondering if maybe we can do some kind of public service announcement with some of our board members, some of the teachers, yourself, assuring the parents of our Haitian and Latino community that their children are safe in our schools and they should not be afraid to send them to school.
Public participation. We just have one that signed up, but David Willard, I'm not sure if David Willard is here, but it was more of an Oprah request than anything else. David Willard. None. All right, that closed. Is that? I did. I just called him. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rowe. David Willard. David Willard. All right, bro. Board discussion, action on consent agenda. Have a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call.
Gerald Trueheart.
Yes.
Denise Johnson.
Yes.
Jean Bowie.
Yes.
Addie Daniels-Lane.
Yes.
Austin Edwards.
Yes.
Yolanda Lopez.
Yes.
Larry Trailer.
Yes.
Jeannie Weekland.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Board member comments. We have NJSBA liaison updates, delegate update, legislative update, and 4Cs update. That's Addie, Denise, Larry, and Yolanda, if you have any updates in that order. Thank you.
I have no updates.
Wait a minute. Oh, you don't?
No, I have no
Okay.
updates.
Addie, any updates?
Not really an update. We have not met since June. However, just to note that we will be hosting the Mercer County School Boards Association meeting in November. So that meeting will take place here, and that's a meeting
Right.
where we will introduce new members and also provide them with an initial training for new members.
Oh, good.
So that's just an update
Oh,
for
that's
us.
good.
Okay?
Denise?
Denise
That
Johnson?
is after the
Oh,
election.
excuse me.
Yes.
After the election.
After the election.
Okay, got you. After the November election.
Yes, I have,
Delegate update, Denise?
I have one, yes. So I have written something so I can make sure I hit all the points here. So on May 10th of this year, I attended the New Jersey School Board Association's Delegate Assembly. For some of you who are not aware of NJSBA, it is the policy-making body. The Delegate Assembly is the policy-making body for NJSBA. This organization provides training, advocacy, and support for local boards of education. During the assembly, the delegates elected new officers, and I'm happy to announce that there is a new president. Her name is Tamisha Smith from Knowlton Township Board of Education, which is located in Warrenton County. She was voted as the new president, and there are 3 new vice presidents as well. We voted on 3 resolutions. The first resolution centered around approving language regarding esports activities. The support for this resolution, the sponsor wanted the Delegate Assembly to think about changing the language so that it encourages local school boards to give varsity letters to students. The second resolution centered around changing the requirement for the school nurse. I believe school nurses must have bachelors. The sponsor of this resolution wanted the educational requirement to be an associate's as opposed to a bachelor's because the sponsor mentioned that it's difficult trying to locate school nurses. So they will still have the RN, but they thought having the associates might be a better tool for recruitment. And then the third resolution, we voted on amending attendance requirements to include state excused absences for students who were pursuing trade school enrollment. So those are the 3 resolutions. They all passed. They're all approved. So basically what's going to happen is the language that now exists in the bylaws will be changed to reflect our voting. And then after that, we just voted for the new officers and the assembly ended.
Some legislative updates. The legislative committee met back in May and June, and they discussed the budget, the state budget, which got passed over the summer, as well as some laws that got passed. So only one new law that got passed, which was sunscreen policy law, which required districts to adopt policies concerning students' use of sunscreen and sun protective clothing at school and school-sponsored events. So that goes into effect this upcoming 25-26 school year. And they discussed some noteworthy bill movement, especially around cell phones, restricting cell phones in school. That was one of the big ones. Another one was, pull it up, was around social media public awareness campaign, around spreading the awareness around the dangers of social media use to minors. Some stuff around school counseling certifications, as well as the supervisor mentoring pilot program. And that was really it for the legislative committee.
Mr. Earl? Yolanda, you don't have any comments for 4Cs, is that correct? Thank you, Mr. Earl.
All right, good evening. Just a quick note, after your approval, I just want to introduce our new Assistant Superintendent for School Support, Mr. Julius Clark, who is in the audience with us this evening. You'll get to meet Mr. Clark, but he brings nearly 2 decades of experience in public education with a strong background in instructional leadership, student advocacy, and school improvement. He currently serves as the principal of Red Bank Regional High School, where he led initiatives to strengthen academic programs support professional learning, and build inclusive school cultures. His current superintendent says, and I quote, "He has a calm presence who listens to the concerns of the students and families he serves." Throughout his career, Clark has led efforts in curriculum design, instructional coaching, equity-driven school leadership, and student mentoring. His work reflects a deep belief in the power of strong school communities and collaborative leadership to drive student success. We are excited to have Mr. Clark as a part of our administrative team. Welcome aboard.
Any new business, board members? Seeing no new business, we'll go right into executive session. Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act, I'm sorry, Gene Bowie. Yes, sir, Mr. Bowie. So in the essence of time, I'll read the executive session. And then, but I hope by the time I finish, it'll be up on the screen. All right. It's coming up. Whereas the Open Public Meeting Act codified NJSA 10:4-6 permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting under certain circumstances, and whereas the Trenton Board of Education is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, indicated as follows: any material considered confidential by federal law, state statute, or court rule, any pending or anticipated litigation or contract negotiations which the board is or may become party to, any matter falling within the attorney-client privilege to the extent that confidentiality is required to preserve the attorney-client relationship and allow the attorney to exercise his or her ethical duty as a lawyer. Matters captioned in the matter of MJ, settlement in the matter of PERC filing CO 2024-050. Now therefore be resolved by the Trenton Board of Education, County of Mercer, State of New Jersey, that an executive session will be held on July 28, 2025, for the statutory permissible purposes indicated in this resolution. Be it further resolved that action may be taken by the board when it reconvenes in open session. Be it finally resolved that the minutes of the executive session with regard to the above subject matter will be disclosed to the public at a later date, and to the extent that the same is not prejudicial to the interests of the parties involved, no longer adversely to the public interest, or does not endanger any individual rights to privacy. Motion to enter into executive session. Properly moved and seconded. Roll call.
Gerald Trueheart.
Yes.
Denise Johnson.
Yes.
Gene Bowie. Yes. Addie Daniels-Lane.
Yes.
Austin Edwards.
Yes.
Yolanda Lopez.
Yes.
Larry Traylor.
Yes.
Jeannie Weekland.
Yes.
Adjourn to executive session.
See you back soon.
Isn't it the one with the clear background? With the clear background. I said it is the one with the clear background, right? The logo is the one with the clear background.
We're back in public session. Need a motion on the settlement in matter of PERC file CO 2024-050.
I move that we approve the settlement.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Roll call.
Joe Trueheart.
Yes.
Denise Johnson.
Yes.
Jean Brewery.
Yes.
Addie Daniels Lane.
Yes.
Austin Edwards.
Yes.
Yolanda Lopez.
Yes.
Larry Trailer.
Yes.
Jeannie Weekly.
Abstain?
Motion passed.
Board members, we now have a conversation about filling our vacancy. We have a candidate who we just interviewed in executive session. Is there any comments or discussions around that conversation? Mr. Bowie.
Yeah, so I was very pleased by the passion and compassion that I felt. I think in this role, you have to be passionate and you have to have compassion for the people that are served. So that's what I was listening to through the interview process, and so I heard what I needed to hear.
And for me, I could identify with some of the statements that she was making, having been not necessarily born in Trenton, but being educated in Trenton and being hired by Trenton. And so Trenton grew me. And certainly I feel like I'm here because I want to give back and make sure that other people have the same opportunity or even a better opportunity than I did. And I heard that in her. And so I'm like, okay, I identify. So sounds great to me.
I think she'd be a perfect fit for the group, and I think it'll be a welcome to have a full board again.
I'm happy that we have a candidate to fill this vacancy, and I'm happy to see that she's still here after hearing, what entails being on the board, and she is sitting before us. So I'm happy about that.
So I'm just going to say that the highest qualification for this position is to care specifically about our Trenton community and especially our children. Ms. De Leon in the interview, I think, really demonstrated your love and care for Trenton, for its people, and we couldn't ask for anything more than someone so dedicated to the city. So I appreciate the interview, excited for working with you, and continue just love for the city.
I would speak on fidelity. I think that's really important. Someone who could have maybe moved somewhere else, worked somewhere else, but you chose to come back and give back to the community. And for me, that is something really important because as my members here know, that is something that I instilled in my children, that we need to come back to the place where we're most needed and not abandon ship. So that is that demonstrates not just love and compassion, but it also demonstrates faithfulness, fidelity to the people who gave you something. So, and I also believe you'll be a great fit. It's great to have a young person. It's wonderful to have another Spanish-speaking person who understands the culture of half of the Trenton community. So. Thank you for submitting your application.
I think one thing that I really learned through my time running for being on the board to serving on the board is that we are a school district that believes in taking care of the whole family, not just making sure that kids have a quality education, but making sure that that students have a full development of themselves, between the social emotional development to learning about community, showing up, developing leadership within them, so that we could see former Norman students come back and lead on the board and be community leaders and stakeholders, to educating parents. And I think in this candidate, I'm really excited to see someone who is already doing that work outside of this position, doing that work, showing up as a doula with experience and schooling around social emotional learning, which I'm excited to see how that could, benefit and help enrich our conversations and the work that we do on the board, and is deeply involved and committed to the community. I think that's something that I was really passionate about when I came back, and I love to see that in this candidate. So I'm really excited, and thank you for submitting your application, Ms. De Leon.
So I'm just so impressed. One of the things I loved about you as you came into the interview was your demeanor. And when you were asked various questions, they were very balanced and measured, and I could really feel your passion and love, not only for the city of Trenton, but for your family and for your community. And every member on this board is here to support you, never to tear you down, always to lift you up, to share. Please, always remember, always share your heart with us, with all the members. No one's going to tear you down. Everyone's going to listen attentively, and we're going to come collectively together to work to build you up, not only in your knowledge of the school board, but knowledge of the school district and school systems and how we operate. So thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your patience. Thank you for the long meeting tonight, and we look forward to, we're going to be voting very soon. So I look forward to that vote. We do have to change the agenda, amend the agenda to include the filling of the board vacancy. And so I'm asking for a motion to amend the agenda to approve the filling of the board vacancy.
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved and second, and roll call.
Joe Trueheart.
Yes.
Denise Johnson.
Yes.
Jean Bowie.
Yes.
Addie Daniels Lane.
Yes.
Austin Edwards.
Yes.
Yolanda Lopez.
Yes.
Larry Trailer.
Yes.
Jeannie Weekland.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Motion to approve the appointment of the Nelly De Leon to the school board. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Properly moved and seconded. Roll call.
Joe Trueheart.
Yes.
Denise Johnson.
Yes.
Jean Bowie.
Yes.
Addie Daniels Lane.
Yes.
Austin Edwards.
Absolutely.
Yolanda Lopez.
Yes.
Larry Trailer.
Yes.
Jeannie Weekland.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Motion passed. Yeah.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Now the next step, you'll go through a criminal background check, and you'll be appointed, actually seated at our next board meeting if we get the criminal background check back within that time frame. Is that right, General Counsel? No? Just has to submit. Okay, once you submit, the board secretary will walk you through that process in terms of the next steps for you. And then once we get that done, we'll have you sworn in at the next board meeting in August.
So can she come in tomorrow morning, Ms. Howard? Can she come in tomorrow morning to start the paperwork? Can you come in tomorrow morning?
What time?
Ms.
Yeah, you guys communicate.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys have already been communicating.
Well,
So
yeah,
they'll
'cause
they'll
we wanna
work
do
out the
this
logistics
ASAP.
in terms of
Yeah,
when
okay.
that happens. So it'll get done right away, Yolanda.
Yes.
All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Probably moved in second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? None.